Hey friends, we have another ChatGPT video, and today we're gonna ask it more horror game related questions. I had an absolute blast last time we did this, but we asked some pretty generic questions and I wanted to get a little more specific this time. I'm really gonna be testing ChatGPT's creativity today, and let's see how well it knows some of our favorite horror franchises. A lot of you guys found the first ChatGPT horror video pretty interesting. Anytime we asked it for something that was opinion-based, it seemed to be looking for the most popular opinions in terms of the horror landscape. We both disagreed with ChatGPT on many things last time, and I have a gut feeling that this video is going to be no different. So with that being said, here is ChatGPT Horror Games Part 2. First, I want to put ChatGPT into the writer's seat, so let's go ahead and ask it a question about writing the next Silent Hill game. So we're asking, you are the head writer at Konami. You are working on the next unannounced Silent Hill game. You have complete creative control over the plot of the game, however, it still needs to be a horror game. Write a plot summary of the next Silent Hill game. Okay, they typed an enormous summary. Let's go through it here. Title, Silent Hill Echoes of Desolation. Okay, here's the plot summary. Silent Hill Echoes of Desolation takes players on a chilling journey into the darkest recesses of the human mind, where the line between reality and nightmare blurs beyond recognition. Okay, sounds right so far. The game follows the harrowing experiences of Sarah Cooper, a troubled woman plagued by her traumatic past and haunted by her own guilt. Sounding a bit familiar. The story begins as Sarah returns to her hometown of Silent Hill after receiving a mysterious letter from her estranged sister, Emily. This is starting to sound a little more familiar, I guess. The letter reveals that Emily has gone missing and her last known location was Silent Hill. Filled with concern and a desperate need to unravel the truth, Sarah delves into the eerie depths of the fog-laden town, unaware of the horrors that await her. As Sarah ventures deeper into the twisted streets and dilapidated buildings of Silent Hill, she discovers an uncanny ability to traverse between different dimensions, past and present, reality and nightmare. Guided by fragmented memories and cryptic messages, Sarah must navigate these shifting realms to uncover the truth behind her sister's disappearance and confront the demons of her own past. Along her haunting journey, Sarah encounters a cast of enigmatic characters who both aid and hinder her progress. These individuals are trapped in their own personal nightmares, their stories intricately intertwined with the dark history of Silent Hill. Sarah's choices and actions will determine their fates, as well as her own, leading to multiple branching paths and endings. Interesting. So, that's a bit different. Like, Silent Hill games have had different endings, but the outcomes and, deciding whether characters live or die, at least with the mainline games, uncommon. That's kind of new. The horror of Silent Hill Echoes of Desolation is deeply psychological, playing upon Sarah's inner turmoil and guilt. The town manifests her fears and regrets in grotesque and disturbing ways, warping familiar locations into nightmarish landscapes and twisting memories into distorted nightmares. Whew, okay, lots of nightmares going on here. The chilling atmosphere is accentuated by unnerving sound design, haunting music, and subtle environmental cues, ensuring a constant sense of unease. As Sarah unravels the mysteries of Silent Hill, she confronts her own demons, reconciling with her past and discovering the truth about her sister's disappearance. The narrative explores themes of guilt, redemption, and the enduring power of family bonds, all within the context of a relentless and visceral horror experience. They're really trying to sell us on this game, actually. It's like a sales pitch, too. Silent Hill Echoes of Desolation promises to bring back the psychological terror and atmospheric storytelling that made the franchise legendary. It invites players to confront their deepest fears, challenge their perceptions of reality, and question the very nature of their existence in the twisted nightmare that is Silent Hill. So I'm going to admit that was a lot more in-depth than I thought it was going to be, and it sounds like a Silent Hill game. I would argue that ChatGPT played it pretty safe. I think being able to have characters have different outcomes is interesting. That's, to my knowledge, not something that the mainline games have done, but, the idea of multiple endings is common. I'm going to give that one a thumbs up. Yeah, cool. Well, ChatGPT, thank you for your Silent Hill game pitch. I'll send that right to Konami, and they can and get right on that. So now we're going to do something similar, but this time for Resident Evil. Okay, here we go. You are the head writer for the Resident Evil franchise at Capcom. Your team is currently working on the next unannounced Resident Evil game. You have complete creative control, however, it still needs to be a horror game. Write a brief plot synopsis for the next Resident Evil game. And here we go. Okay, the game title is Resident Evil Shattered Silence, and the plot synopsis is as follows. Resident Evil Shattered Silence immerses players in a relentless survival horror experience, setting the stage for a chilling narrative that pushes the boundaries of fear and suspense. The game unfolds in the remote and foreboding Blackwood Manor, an isolated estate nestled deep within the heart of the Scottish Highlands. Huh. Well, that's different. I mean, we're going back to a manor, so we're definitely still playing it safe, and I feel like that's the nature of asking ChatGPT these questions, but let's see where it goes. The story centers around Rebecca Chambers. Okay, a former member of the Elite Stars Alpha team who has dedicated herself to investigating and uncovering the truth behind the sinister activities of the Umbrella Corporation. Rebecca receives an anonymous tip that leads her to Blackwood Manor, rumored to be the epicenter of a new and horrifying outbreak. Okay. Upon arrival, Rebecca finds herself trapped within the mansion's sprawling halls, a labyrinth of treacherous corridors and shadowy secrets. As she explores the decrepit rooms and unravels the dark history of the mansion, Rebecca discovers that the Blackwood Manor was once home to an enigmatic cult known as the Order of Silence. Okay, so we have Resident Evil 1 style manor, and we have Resident Evil 4 style cult. Okay. Cult worshipped a malevolent deity, unleashing unspeakable horrors upon its followers. However, the true terror lies not only in the gruesome monstrosities lurking within the mansion's walls, but also in the eerie silence that engulfs the entire estate. Unsettling whispers, haunting echoes, and an inexplicable stillness heighten the atmosphere of dread, as if the very essence of sound has been shattered. So, this was not just a generic name they picked. This is very much the whole concept of silence. They seem to be working into the game design as well. That's impressive, actually. Rebecca soon realizes that her survival depends not only on evading the abominations hunting her, but also on exploiting the limited sound within the environment. With every creaking floorboard or shattering glass, she risks attracting the attention of the grotesque creatures dwelling within the manor's darkness. So, it's a survival horror game for sure, but it seems to be much more horror focused than most of the Resident Evil games, honestly. Throughout her harrowing journey, Rebecca encounters a cast of eclectic characters, each guarding their own secrets and motivations. Some may become allies, offering vital assistance and information, while others may pose as unexpected threats or succumb to the madness that grips the mansion. So no branching paths, it seems. Resident Evil Shattered Silence introduces innovative gameplay mechanics that revolve around the strategic use of sound and silence. Players must carefully navigate the environment, balancing their actions to avoid detection while utilizing available tools and resources to distract or incapacitate enemies. Rebecca's skills and resourcefulness will be put to the test as she uncovers hidden puzzles, finds essential items, and battles terrifying bioorganic monstrosities. As Rebecca delves deeper into the heart of Blackwood Manor, she unearths the disturbing truth about the Order of Silence and the origins of the outbreak. The narrative explores themes of religious fanaticism, the consequences of unchecked scientific experimentation, and the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable horrors. Sounds like a Resident Evil game. Resident Evil Shattered Silence aims to deliver a visceral horror experience combining atmospheric tension, strategic gameplay mechanics, and a captivating narrative. It invites players to confront their fears, navigate a web of mystery and terror, and unravel the secrets that lie within the shattered silence of Blackwood Manor. I tried to throw the word brief in there to maybe shorten the explanation, but I feel like this one played it slightly less safe. Like, obviously it sounds like a Resident Evil game, but I love the idea of a sound-based central gameplay loop. That's cool. So along the same Resident Evil theme, let's try something different. You are a fictional character in the Resident Evil video games. You're a scientist that works for Umbrella Corporation, designing the next virus that the company will use as a bioweapon. You are in charge of naming the virus as well as determining what it does to people once they are infected. Describe the virus and tell us what it transforms humans into. Okay, here we go. Certainly, the virus I've designed for the Umbrella Corporation is called Zerathium. It infects the central nervous system, causing severe neurological and physical changes. Infected individuals exhibit aggressive behavior, pale skin with pulsating veins, bloodshot glowing eyes, and develop long razor-sharp claws. Okay, kind of like... Well, I don't know if there's anything with all of those characteristics, but it seems like they combined a few. Their strength and agility will increase as they undergo mutations like bony protrusions and an extended jaw with jagged teeth. Mentally, they lose empathy and rationality, driven solely by violence and spreading the virus. Zerathium is a nightmarish bioweapon embodying Umbrella Corporation's disregard for life and power-hungry intentions. Okay, awesome. So, I mean, that's basically exactly what I wanted. This is so cool. Wow, Zerathium. That's definitely, maybe they would call it the X virus or something like that, because that's normally the nomenclature for a lot of the Resident Evil viruses. I think this one definitely played it safe, as it seems like they combine certain characteristics together. And then, you know, you have the blanket strength and agility increase, which basically all of the viruses do. Interesting. Okay. Well, thank you, ChatGPT, for creating a new bioweapon for our favorite heroes to fight against. Okay, here we go. You are the greatest indie horror game developer on the planet. You have to write a concept for the scariest game ever made. This includes both the plot of the game as well as its game mechanics. You have a deep knowledge of every existing horror game, including both indie games as well as AAA games. Explain the concept for the scariest indie horror game ever. So the game is called Eclipse of Shadows, and ChatGPT spit out an enormous explanation here. I'm not going to go through everything specifically because a lot of this is not, it's not very specific. But the game mechanics they have are psychological terror, so it's going to be, psychological horror game. Dynamic environments where the mansion is a character in itself, shifting and evolving constantly. It's going to be non-linear, unpredictable AI, and immersive sound design. This is like... They don't go into details about the specifics of that, except the mansion being a character, which I thought was cool. But here's the plot. The player assumes the role of Alex, a tormented individual plagued by recurring nightmares and unexplained phenomena. Haunted by a traumatic past, which seems to be a common theme for ChatGPT games, and drawn to the mystery surrounding an abandoned mansion, Alex embarks on a desperate quest for answers. The journey leads Alex to the decaying Ravenswood Manor, a sprawling, isolated estate surrounded in darkness and filled with malevolent spirits. As the protagonist ventures deeper into the mansion, the lines between reality and nightmare blur. Again, another common theme for ChatGPT games, revealing a hidden world plagued by supernatural forces. The narrative unfolds through atmospheric storytelling, cryptic documents, and unsettling encounters with apparitions and forgotten memories. So it seems like a ghost game. Rather than like, zombies or something else. Alex must confront their own demons, confront the twisted history of Ravenswood Manor, and unravel the truth behind the haunting presence that looms within its walls. Cool. Very safe, in my opinion. Actually, the game mechanics sound like something a bit beyond an indie game, but I get it. They're trying to cover all their bases. Okay, if you could bring back one dormant horror game franchise, which one would it be, and why? My vote is for Clock Tower. Let's see what ChatGPT says. Okay, if given the opportunity to resurrect one dormant horror game franchise, I would choose Fatal Frame. That's not a dormant horror game franchise. They just remade one of the Fatal Frames for modern systems. Let's try something besides Fatal Frame. So I literally typed besides Fatal Frame and it chooses Silent Hill. Now, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt here. ChatGPT states that its knowledge of games past, or knowledge of information like before or after 2021, is a bit limited. So at that point, they're not aware of the announcements we've had recently. So to them, Silent Hill is a dormant franchise. I'm going to give it one more chance and say, besides Silent Hill. ChatGPT, now we're talking. If I were to bring back another dormant horror game franchise besides Silent Hill and Fatal Frame, I would choose Eternal Darkness Sanity's Requiem. I love that pick. Imagine an Eternal Darkness game with like the fourth wall breaking psychological horror mechanics with today's technology. Oh my goodness, I would buy that day one. So, you know, they go on to explain basically what makes Eternal Darkness cool, which, you know, psychological mechanics, storytelling, varied settings and time periods. This is all standard stuff. They're basically explaining why Eternal Darkness is good. But man, could you imagine with today's tech? That would be sick. I love this answer. ChatGPT, gold star from Big Gaming. Okay, friends, here's the last question that we're going to ask ChatGPT in this video. You are an indie horror game developer. Create a concept for the scariest indie horror game monster you can possibly think of. It has to be completely original and designed to be as terrifying as possible. Okay, here we go. So the game title is called Phantom Veil, which I didn't ask for, but that's fine. And here's the concept. It's an indie horror game that introduces a truly terrifying and original monster known as the Soul Harbinger. Okay, so does it eat our souls? I guess we'll find out. This malevolent entity embodies pure terror, preying upon the deepest fears and vulnerabilities of his victims. Very popular theme for ChatGPT scary stuff. With its chilling appearance, relentless pursuit, and otherworldly abilities, the Soul Harbinger aims to deliver an unrivaled level of fear and horror to players. So let's go ahead and skim through here. It's a twisted amalgamation of darkness and ethereal essence, devoid of a tangible physical form. Okay. So is it a ghost or something more conceptual? It's shrouded in a wispy, ever-shifting veil that constantly undulates and morphs, giving the impression of a shapeless, nightmarish entity. So it has phantasmal shifting, it can phase through solid objects, fear manipulation. Interesting. That could be a good gameplay mechanic. Corporeal possession. It can possess inanimate objects, transforming them into terrifying vessels of terror. Sonic dissonance. It can emit discordant, otherworldly sound that penetrate the player's mind. And relentless pursuit. Once the Soul Harbinger has set its sights on a victim, it relentlessly pursues them. Huh. This sounds like the ultimate... Like, imagine you're playing one of those kind of non-linear, explore a big... like a big building and solve puzzle and try to escape. Kind of like Nun Massacre, where you have this ever-present threat. This sounds like the ultimate version of that with just a motley crew of powers and abilities to make the game as scary as possible. Cool stuff. I like challenging ChatGPT to create these concepts for stuff, and I hope you guys had fun maybe looking at some more interesting and creative questions in this episode. If you guys want to do another one, we can absolutely do one and see what ChatGPT has to say. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I love you very much, and I'll see you in the next one.